Oh, hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Dutchman's Wood Shack. Or should I say Dustman's Dust Mite Bin. Okay, I've been working on a couple of things, but I want to say this goes out to the people who bought my bowls and some of my woodworking and some glass. I want to thank you for purchasing our products at the Batavia Farmers Market slash Artisan Row on Saturday last weekend. That was ended up being a pretty good show. I loved. I always loved doing it in that town. There's always something going on. Batavia Chamber always has something really kind of neat going on. So, anyway, um, one thing I got to tell you is really funny. Okay, so remember that resin bowl I made out of that bowl, that goofy multicolored one? It sold. More people picked that thing up and actually uh, checked it out. So I don't know where I was when it was sold, but um, the boss got it. So and then I sold a um, crabapple tree bowl. It's kind of like a bark bowl, but yeah. So thank you again. I didn't get the lady's name that bought my multicolored bowl, but thank you to Terry. Um, Terry knows who it is. I know bought my I should say brother-in-law's. It was kind of the story behind this. It was a piece of wood that was come off of one of my neighbor's house, and the lady that bought it was his wife's sister. So thank you. Really appreciate that. So what I'm doing today is I'm showing you a little bit of stuff this morning, and I thought I'd start off by showing you what kind of the things I'm down to the nitty gritty with this with one of the things, but um, I'm working on furniture here. I've got my legs. I got to finish for that. Yeah, I'm still working on it. I had to kind of alter the plan, but right now I'm focusing on this. Now, when you start getting down to the nitty gritty here, where you want to, final finish to be eventually, you want to make sure you don't go too far. So, two things I'm always getting asked: do you want to show the brown? You want to see the maple? I mean the walnut on the bottom, or do you want to see these on the bottom? And I cringe when people say the brown, because it's kind of like, okay, why did I spend all this time doing this? You know, so it's kind of like, okay, so I kind of like this look. Okay, so but here's the question though. Here's the key. So that bowl is down. The brown is down about 3 inches. Okay, so I got this at about 2 and 3/8. Okay, so my idea here is to leave. So I want to go down to about 2 and 5/8. Right, that's what I'm working on. 2 and 5/8. Now, when you start getting down to a certain point, you want to be careful you didn't take too much out. The idea is with me now. This is going to experience. Just my way I do it. And I get down to a point like I may have a half an inch left, a little bit more than half an inch before I hit the what I use for the bottom. Then I start taking like increments out, like an eighth of a time, less than that. And then the big thing is here in the middle. This is always a problem child. I'll show you. Now, do you want the bowl to be flat or do you want it pitched a little bit in, right? So I take a straight edge, which is my pencil actually, and I go like this. I just hold it in the middle. So right now it looks like I got about less than an eighth of it, maybe 2/16 of an inch to go between in the middle here, because it's vacant here. When you look at it, you got gaps on the pencil. So you want to take right in here out. The key is when you're doing this, you do it really slowly and gingerly, so you don't mess up anything. Now, this is again, this is I got to put a disclaimer out there. This might not be the way that other guys do it, but this is the way I do it. And what I'm trying to do too, is at the same time, is focus on hollowing this out a little bit more. Then I can work on this. Once I get this done, once I get this rough cut, then I start working on backwashing, what I call, on this. Now, there's one or two ways I thought about this. See, I made it thicker on purpose because I want to have an overhang here, and I want it to go in. So I've got kind of a rounded lip on it. Or you see where I don't know if you can see it, but there's a mark right here. That was going to be the rough cut finish right there. I always allow myself about 1/8 of an inch when it comes to sanding stuff, because I'll take that much off sanding, especially when you have really soft woods. And I've been using carbide tips, which I know people hate, but hey, sorry, it makes my life easier. So there you go. Here's all the people who use carbide tips. Thank you. I mean, I could use the bowl gouge, but I don't. It's too much of a hassle. I've had issues with them, and I'm just not perfected with it yet. Hi, Poker Man. Thanks for subscribing. Anyway, right now what I'm doing is I'm showing you how I can do this. And when I measure, I usually stick it in here like that, it's even Steven. But what I want to do now, and see, this is where it gets kind of critical, which part of your tool you use, because some of these have a how far you can go in it mark on it. With this one, it's coming off slowly. About 6 inches, 5.5. So from here to here is about the max. You don't want this thing sitting on there that far in. I like to go, if I can work it, if I'm not doing something deep, about that far, about 2.5, maybe 3 inches, because you get this. Otherwise, you'll get this choppiness. Now, on the old steel ones, same thing, right? You get right here, you can see where I've been chopping. When you don't, with these, I gotta glue that thing back in. I don't like to go any further than this. Same distance. You could go out, but then you're doing this a lot. Chop it. And you don't have control over it. That's the big thing. It's a safety deal. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna bring you guys over, and I'm gonna show you how I do this. Now, I did draw a little pencil mark on there to find out what I want to take off. Now, I'll use my pencil. Right up there. Yeah, that's about where I want it. But see, there's a dimple right here. There's a little bit of a notch right there. That's, for me, has always been a problem child, to getting that thing down there without. That's why I always allow myself more than enough, because I still haven't perfected that yet. For some reason, I can't seem to get that. They use a different tool, though. little bit more right there. So switch it. This is now there's a little bit of a ridge right here. Yeah, I just keep fighting it, but it will get a little bit here. Now that looks pretty good there. Okay, so the next step is the sides. Now the problem with the sides here, all right, they're pretty thick. I have calipers there, but here's what I end up doing. All right, when I get to this point, I figure, okay, there's two ways I can design this. This is in my head, but and I've been known to change my design patterns as I'm going along. So you don't want it really this thick, but you want to keep it thick enough to where it won't fall apart. There's a lot of seams in here. And then you still have to sand the outside of this. So usually I go about 3/8 to maybe about a half an inch is what I want thickness wise. But here again, when you're playing along with this as you're going, you don't know maybe if there's a weak spot, and I've had that happen before where the weak spot will come through and then you're screwed. So first off, I want to measure and see what I got here. Yeah, yeah. I could probably go down another 1/4 inch, but this is kind of like what I want. So, I don't know. See, this is where part of me wants to keep going. And if I go half an inch, that leaves me an 1/8. See. So that would leave me that much. Well, see, the problem is you don't want to go too far because you don't want to oversand it either. They go down to the bottom. So, I don't know. I'll do a little bit more. Yeah, that'll be good enough. Now the idea here is I want to switch out some stuff. Nobody watching? Oh well. So let's put this back in here and use my original. I don't. A lot of times on big stuff, I don't use this that much. But you can't get back in there deep enough. That's why. So now, thing about doing this. Now you're using this, right? So what's going to happen here is different ideal with parts of the tool. Now between this here, there's like 3 inches, maybe 2.5, and here. That's ideal space to work. You go beyond that, you're going too far, and you go just shy of that, you got to worry about rounded off stuff. So this is basically what they say the tool zone, rest zone. So that's basically what you want to use on this. If you get, it's kind of like if you're trying to golf or something. It's like my wrist. You get in here like this, it wants to do this. So yeah, see that's the only problem. Um, Same thing goes with these tools. If I'm using something like this would have to go in closer because you don't want to have too. Workability for this is probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Otherwise, you get to slapping. You know. Okay, so this one I'll have to move this on the way because I can't. Okay, so now I'm probably going to have to move you so you could see more. Yeah, I think that one's kind of getting dull. But you can see it gets in here and it's starting to cause. I wanted the other one's probably better. But anyway, when you're doing this, like this works out. You want to use something that's halfway decent. Um, and it has good teeth on it. You know, my tools are kind of like dull. Okay, so this one might work better. Yeah, I think these are dull. I have to get a new one. So, anyway, you got the gist. I'll try one more thing here. Yeah, so that's kind of the hard way of doing things. I need to move the camera sometimes and put it back here. That's where it used to be. Two things you got to be aware of. See right there, um, is the edges. You don't want them too sharp. So when you do it, you want to make sure you round these off all the time. Just a rough edge right here. See that? It can chip out really easy. So, um, but anyway, yeah. And I'm not worried about the center too much because what I do is I've got a drill press I could use with a sanding disc on it, and that's usually what I do because then I put down more and I push down more pressure in the middle because you kind of want a bowl like this, right? So instead of just flat. Ain't that the way most bowls are made? Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna get off and get something to drink and be back on later on tonight. Thanks for watching the Dutchman's Woodchuck. And like I say before, if you're not making sawdust, you're not being creative, so get with the program.